Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I'm a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Come take this journey with me. Excuses are over. It's time to live.
The winning has nothing to do with the trophy. It's that mentality of being your best, setting that standard of excellence without any excuse, but being grateful for the moment. A lot of times people will say, I want to be like her. How did she do it? And I say, because she was coachable. She listened. They don't want to hear that. They want the secret sauce. And quite frankly, the secret sauce is to be open and coachable to someone who's been there and done that. The work is going to overwhelm and create burnout. So the play has got to be as good as the work. Because what else are we working for? What else are we working toward?
What's up, everybody? This is Rob Murgatroyd, and welcome to another episode of the Work Hard, Play Hard show. Today's guest is Cathy Savage. You know, Cathy and I go way back, probably 15 years or so. And, you know, we all have dreams to be successful in business, and Cathy has managed to rise to the top of two completely different businesses, fitness and network marketing. Now, I had a lot of questions for Cathy, namely how she was able to get lightning to strike twice and create these $2 million businesses. In this conversation, we talk about everything from how she disrupted the fitness industry years ago and why she's about to do it again, how the impact her dad had on her shapes almost every decision in her life, and what her non-negotiables are for play in her life. You can find her on the socials at Cathy Savage Official. Be sure to take a screenshot of this episode and tag me and Cathy and share it. Without further ado, please enjoy this conversation I had with Cathy Savage. Cathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rob. So good to be here.
You are so welcome. You know, I'm super excited that you're here today. There's so many cool roads that we can go down. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I really, really appreciate you for making the time. You're kind of like an odyssey, you know, sitting down, coming up with questions for you. It's, you know, I can go down, you're like a Rubik's Cube. I can go down 20 different directions, but I think I chose a good one today. So I'm excited that you made the time to be here.
Thank you. I don't think anyone's ever called me a Rubik's Cube. Thank you. I think I like it.
So, you know, the reason why I wanted you on the show today is not only because of the massive impact that you've had on me and my family personally, but also I kind of want to deconstruct how you've managed to rise to the top of two completely different industries. They say if you do it once, you're lucky. If you do it twice, you're good, and you're good. So I want to kind of dig into that. But first, I want to start with a little background. Can you tell us where you grew up and how you would describe your childhood?
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for all those cool things you said. Well, as you can tell a little bit by my accent, I'm from Boston and grew up in Boston. I've lived in Boston all my life, had a phenomenal, remarkable childhood. You're not going to get a lot of dysfunction here. This is a story of growing up and having two parents who instilled belief and greatness into me every single day. There wasn't a day, I think, that didn't go by when especially my dad would say to me, "You are destined for greatness." So that is the childhood that I was brought up with. But ironically, Rob, that's not the childhood my dad had. So I think my dad overcompensated because he didn't have a lot of love growing up. And I was the benefactor of that because he instilled such love and inspiration to me. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why I am who I am today.
Yeah, I know that your dad has had a massive impact on your life. Is there a particular story that stands out for you when you think of him that's really shaped you either personally or professionally?
Oh, that's there's so many. There's two quick ones. One was a business situation where I had an employee that kind of tried to take a portion of my business away from me. As a fitness coach, sometimes you see that someone who you've worked with for years and you instill greatness into them, and then they try to go off and do their own thing and steal your clients. I mean, that happens all the time in business. And I remember so vividly, my dad was actually in the hospital getting tests done. And I went in there and I said, Dad, I can't believe this. I've done so much for this person. And, just went through the whole thing. And he just stared at me and he said, wow, I think she just did you the biggest favor. Why would you ever want someone like that working with you? I'll never forget that because it released that victim mentality in a moment's time. And from that moment on, I never looked at it like, how could someone do this to me? It was, wow, thank you for leaving me. And that was probably one of the most profound experiences because it changed the way that I looked at my business. The other part of that was when I started to build my second business. I wasn't sure. I had some doubts. And I remember asking my dad, what do you think? Should I just stick with this one business that's a multi-million-dollar business and just stay in my lane? Or should I try this other business? And he looked at me and he said, you know what? You always make good decisions. This is probably going to be another one. So that's an example of that cheerleader mentality that I was so blessed to have. But those two are probably some of the highlights of my life.
How did his influence affect how you raise your kids now?
Well, it's an absolute legacy. I believe that children should be told on a daily basis that they can do, be, and have anything they want. That's how I was raised. I also teach them about the life lessons that I had growing up. They knew my dad quite well, so they have that legacy in them. And it really shows me that I need to be present in their lives because my dad and my mom were never too busy for me, and I'm never too busy for my kids now. So I actually structure my entire life around their schedule. And they know that I am here when they need me and that they are a priority in my life. So I would say that it's a tremendous influence.
Yeah, there's no doubt anybody who knows you knows that your motto is families first, and you definitely walk that walk. What did you think that you were going to be when you grew up in, say, high school?
Oh, well, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. Sports. Do you know about sports, Rob?
I don't, but I'm learning. I am learning. That's a show for another day.
Yep. I wanted to be a correspondent. I wanted to be on the sideline fields. For a little while, I wanted to be a political correspondent, but my love of sports just took over. And I was absolutely, without a doubt, positive that was what I was going to do in life. I was going to be a sports analyst, one of the first women on the field. That was my jam.
There's so many roads that we can go down. The theme of this particular show is, as it relates to your interview, is going to be, you have managed to take two businesses that people would think feed into each other, but in many ways, the mechanics of both businesses are quite different. And that's what I'm fascinated about. So I'd like to begin with Cathy Savage Fitness. What is Cathy Savage Fitness, and why did you start it?
Well, Cathy Savage Fitness was born out of the love that I had for the sport of competitive fitness. So for me, when I got out of college and was an athlete all my life, there was really nothing for me to do, but I loved working out. So I went to the gym, became a personal trainer on the side. Like many people, just went to the gym every day. And then I learned about fitness competitions and I just threw myself into it, not knowing really anything about it. And I did pretty well with it. And after a while, people started asking me for help as the sport began. And I said, wait, this is a niche for me. Being an entrepreneur at the time, little did I know I wasn't an entrepreneur, but I had that spirit in me. I said, hey, I'm going to be a coach. Took a bunch of girls who wanted to compete And I lumped them all together and I said, hey, you know what? You're going to compete against each other, but we're going to train together, travel together, and do this together. Because when I competed, Rob, the trophy just wasn't enough for me. So that's how the team concept in fitness was created, just by me saying, it's just not enough to stand on stage and not talk to anyone. So that's kind of how it started. But again, I just always say it's like an avalanche. Picture a small snowball at the top of a mountain that just kept getting bigger and bigger. And that's what it is.
So you got these girls that were originally competing by themselves. You come along and say, "Hey, look, let's do this together. Let's all do it together as a team." Because what are we winning? A $40 trophy? I mean, let's get real here. What was it like then for you when you had the first group of girls working together? Was there resistance and cattiness where they were competitive within the team, or did they immediately embrace the team concept?
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I set the standard right away. Just having studied the best sports coaches, having an athletic background, I kind of knew how to coach people in a team-based atmosphere because I was coached in a team-based atmosphere all my life. And I personally feel, and I still say this to the girls, is when you are preparing right by someone's side, or now virtually by someone's side, and they win, you have a part of that win because you were part of their journey through the process. So that is what organically comes out in any team-based sport or business, anything like that. And I was able to kind of set that standard right from the beginning. The divas, the competitiveness, those people don't last long with me because I don't allow it.
You know, you mentioned virtual coaching. You've been attributed with being the first person to create virtual fitness coaching. You have a really good knack for knowing which way trends are going to go in that space. What do you attribute that skill to?
Thank you for that. I really think that I'm a really great entrepreneur because any entrepreneur has to almost have that light bulb moment on at every moment. And I believe that any entrepreneur has to have the ability to sense a need before everybody else does. And they have to solve that need before some people even see that there's a need. So I think I'm really good at that. I think I'm really good at reading like what women want, what men want, and knowing that I have the solution for them. And I think that's what I do with everything. I actually kind of probably do that as a mom as well, is identifying a need and knowing I have the solution. And I believe that's what I have done to build my fitness business, as well as all my passions, everything that I've done. I help people see it before they even see it.
Do you know where that comes from, or is that just something that you just possess?
Well, I'm 54 years old, and I believe that one of the greatest things you can have is wisdom. I have wisdom. I don't know if I had it 30 years ago. I think I was more of a motivator, athletic style coach back then. But I'd say over the last 15 years or so, my wisdom into looking for that need has really served me well. I think everybody has that within them. I don't think I'm any more special than anyone else. I just kind of go to that place of, how can I help someone? How can I strategize? Maybe I am wired that way because my dad sure was. I don't know. I just love solving problems. I'm the problem solver.
Yeah. You definitely take pieces of puzzles and put them together. The term market disruptor gets thrown around a lot these days, but you legitimately have disrupted the fitness space by really turning it from an individual sport, like we talked about, into a sisterhood. And you're about to do it again. So just for context, what is it that you're seeing now in the fitness space as a problem, and how do you want to disrupt it and change it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad right now. The competitive fitness industry started off as an athletic sport. You know, fitness came from bodybuilding. And when fitness competitors, and your wife, Kim, is a former fitness competitor, she knows, you know, you would get on stage and you would command respect. You know, it was so hard to prep and it took dedication. And now the sport is over sexualized. in my opinion. Women look like objects. Women are asked to stand a certain way on stage, spreading their legs, sticking their butt out. And, it's even beyond the sport of fitness. If you look on Instagram, you see women constantly doing this and arching their back and tilting this way and that way. And that was never what the sport was supposed to be. And as someone who's a pioneer in the sport, in the industry, it sickens me because I do not believe that the empowerment of women is going to come from that. And I'm all about creating opportunities, creating experiences for women, especially in fitness, where that can enhance every other part of their life. But I'm going to create an experience for women where they are celebrated for their transformations. They're celebrated for their hard work in the gym, and their story is going to be told as opposed to coming out on stage for 20 seconds after preparing for months for that moment. So we're creating a weekend experience filled with photo shoots and celebrations and transformations and no first place, second place, third place, fourth place. Everybody has a moment. They're going to get feedback by the best photographers in the industry. And we are literally going to turn the industry around where the women, the athletes, have the power.
I think what's interesting here is, and what's important to be highlighted is that, years ago you looked and you said, there's no team here. Let's make one. So you're a pioneer, you disrupt it. And you could easily coast and rest on your laurels now and say, hey, look, this is the way they do it. I've got a show. I know all the promoters. I bring my girls in, I make my money and I leave. But there's principles here that are getting in the way, and you're willing to carve out a new niche to do it. And you're not afraid of, I don't know what you're afraid of. You're not afraid of anything, really. I wonder if that is something that has always been with you, where you're fearless. That's the word I'm searching for. Or have you just developed that over your life?
I think I've had some of it, but as I get older, it becomes stronger. Honestly, I just don't care what people think about me. I don't.
Was there a time when you did?
Yeah, probably. Like any 20-something-year-old, I don't think it was as strong, but I was always that person to take the lead and, be the class president and fight for the underdog and speak up in class when I was that person, cried on the last day of school, loved my teachers. I think I had leadership in me, but not not like it is now. I think when I hit my 40s, I just became that honey badger. I just don't care. I care about what my kids think. I care about what my family thinks, but that's about it. And when that belief button turns on, you just don't sweat the small stuff. You know in your heart that what you're doing is purposeful. And as long as you're not hurting anybody, why would it matter to me what some people in the federations will say? And I know there'll be backlash. I know that there's going to be all of that. But at the end of the day, I really don't care. I just don't care.
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about the leadership as it relates to that. Leadership can be a tricky thing for any organization, but I would imagine yours is exponentially harder because leading women who have been dieting for 10 weeks to prepare to walk on stage in front of a crowd in their bikinis and then be judged by a panel of judges cannot always be so easy. What has been your go-to leadership skill to best support these girls?
Oh, easy. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Tell me about that. What do you mean by that?
Because I never let them think it's more important than it really is. So if you asked a Savage girl any question about how important it is to be the best, they will say that their journey to be the best was more important than the trophy. So that winning attitude starts the day they make that decision to have any type of goal. So the trophy actually doesn't even matter. It's, did I give 150% every single day leading up to that? So the gratitude of being able to even set a goal. This is hammered into my clients from day one. And so that gratitude piece takes over. And the night before every show, we talk about that. And we highlight women who are battling cancer, who are going through divorce, who are going through loss. And every single time a little bit of doubt or a little bit of nervousness rears its ugly heads, they shift that mindset to the woman on their team battling cancer who wishes they could compete this week or could get out of the hospital and avoid treatment. This is a gift. This is a blessing. There is no nervousness. This is a celebration of joy and gratitude. And it's been that way for 30 years. Now, we say that, but we also have that winning mentality. But the winning, Rob, has nothing to do with the trophy. Mm-hmm. It's that mentality of being your best, setting that standard of excellence without any excuse, but being grateful for the moment. And that's what I teach, and I will continue to teach.
Let's talk about the girls who give the 150% that you're talking about. You have an uncanny ability, and I've seen it in multiple situations. You have the uncanny ability to know who is going to win, and we'll continue on and we'll wrap up with the fitness portion, but you have an unbelievable ability to know who's going to win, say, a competition, or who's going to be on the cover of a magazine, or who's going to go on to success with their own personal brands. Other than your intuition, what are the components of a champion in fitness or in business?
I'd say being coachable, because everybody needs a coach. And that's something I look for. When someone starts negotiating with me, I lose interest fast because I've been there. I know the path. I know the road to greatness. And if you allow me, I can show you how to get there. I literally have the ability to pull greatness out of anyone. I know that. I can fine tune it, navigate it, find it, grab it, pull it out. Everyone has it, but few find it and do something with it. And if they're coachable and they allow me to assist them, they're going to make it. I can tell you that every single person that has, risen to glory under my tutelage has been coachable. And the great news about that is that means anyone could be that way. Anyone can do this. There are people who have that charisma, that viability to be famous, if you will, but they don't listen and they self-sabotage and they negotiate everything I say. But it's the ones that have stayed grounded, understood the process, looked at me as a collaborator and not a control freak. Those are the people who, quite frankly, have achieved the success that others want to achieve. And a lot of times people will say, I want to be like her. How did she do it? And I say, because she was coachable. She listened. They don't want to hear that. They want the secret sauce. And quite frankly, the secret sauce is to be open and coachable to someone who's been there and done that. I think it's a good life lesson too.
Yeah, for sure. Let's switch gears. Let's go out of fitness and let's move into a lane that you picked up fairly recently over the last couple of years, which is the lane of network marketing. And this is a business that we're both involved in together. Full disclosure, I told Cathy that her decision to go into network marketing would be the biggest mistake of her life. And in the words of Fonzie, I was, the good news is she didn't listen to this guy. And she's now a millionaire. I jumped on with my wife a few years later, still kicking myself. But somehow we're managing to make multiple six figures now. So can you place us on the day when you said, I am going to put down my apprehensions about network marketing and I'm going to give it a shot?
For me, the decision was product-based. And it was a good friend who said, you are burning the candle at both ends. Try this product. So my entrance into the world of network marketing was not the typical, I want to build a business. I already had a business. I already was successful. And honestly, the thought of building another business was just, I was busy. I was a busy mom. And I really wasn't thinking that building another business would be the way to go. And again, I went through that with my father and he said, just go for it. So it was product-based to begin with, but I saw the power of network marketing actually, ironically, when my dad got sick. And I realized that it didn't impact my paycheck, to be in that hospital morning, noon, and night. That was the power. That was the day I decided I'm going to go for this and I'm going to build another empire because everyone needs passive income. That I remember it vividly. So seeing that power of the ability to work from wherever I wanted to and have a team that was working along with me so that I could be with my dad. That was when I decided to go full force.
Now, the thing about network marketing is that it's not all about the person who is growing the network marketing business. In other words, the way this business works, particularly with the company that we're associated with, is we have to help people, right? So at your direction, girls who couldn't afford bikinis for their fitness shows are now making six figures and in some cases seven figures. You're in the top percentage of our network marketing company. And that can only happen if you help people grow their own businesses. So what are the differences, if any, in training a champion to walk on stage or training a champion to make six figures in network marketing?
It's exactly the same. Prepare, execute, repeat. Prepare, execute, repeat. Same in sports, same in fitness, same with business. Because the way you build a business in network marketing isn't sitting around. It's executing, it's connecting and inspiring your team to do the same over and over again. And that word execution and action mean everything. So I have a lot of clients who back in the day would say, I want to get on a fitness magazine or I want to win a show, but they weren't doing anything about it. The woulda, shoulda, coulda. And I used to say, show me, don't tell me. Show me, do the work. I feel I'm saying the same thing in my network marketing business. I want to be a millionaire. I want seven figures. I say the same thing. Show me, don't tell me. Action, execution, prepare. All of those things combined into the day-to-day inspiration and the day-to-day action that a really good entrepreneur has. So I think a lot of times entrepreneurs just kind of fool themselves and they think they're taking action, but it's really surrounding yourself with people who feel the same way, people who are going to shoot, ready, aim. Instead of ready, 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 ready. And I feel that some of the greatest entrepreneurs that I know, including you, are the ones that just go. They just go. And that is so similar to the sport of fitness. You just got to get on stage. You've got to just stop thinking about it and doing it. So I think both are very parallel.
So when growing a business, what do you think people pay too little attention to? And what do you think they pay too much attention to?
I don't think people pay attention to the work that it takes, the work ethic, the patience. I think they see the glory and they don't understand that everything happens in those wall-kicking moments and those years of struggling and those those late nights and all of those things. I think people are really, especially in this world right now that we're living in, people are attracted to the shiny penny, the thing that they think will get them to where they need to be quick. And that's just not how it works. And I think that's why I've been able to have a business for 30 years, that I never strayed so far out of my lane that I didn't stick to kind of the parameters of what I'm good at. There's been situations where I've been offered things and I just would say, I'm not going to be good at that. I can't do that. So I think people are really, really drawn to shiny pennies nowadays and the get rich quick, and those things just don't work. So I think that's a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have today, and they got to get better at that.
You know, a lot of people will look at you and say, look, you got you got two businesses doing $1 million a year each. You've got free time to do what you want to do. But what they don't know, I'm sure, is that you've been through your own periods of struggle. Is there a favorite failure for you that you looked at and at the time you were like, God, this sucks. But later on in life, you're like, I'm glad that happens because it taught me X. Is there anything that comes to mind with that?
I never look at anything as failure. I would only say that maybe being engaged when I was 28, thinking that, I found the right man.
That's actually a really, really good answer to that question because sure, it sucked.
Well, I certainly would not be doing what I'm doing now had that worked out. And he was a great guy, but it wasn't the right guy for me. And I tried to make it work, and I tried too hard to make it work because I had invested so much time, and on paper, it looked like the right thing for me. But, thank God for unanswered prayers, because what I did was, when it finally ended, I threw myself back into the gym, and that's when I competed in fitness. So you definitely, that would be probably the biggest thing that I thought was just going to be the worst, and it turned out to be the best.
What would you say is the hardest challenge or even bad behavior that you're currently working on with yourself?
Oh, come on, Rob. I don't have any bad behaviors.
But if you did, I mean, I know you don't, but if you
No, I actually do. I'm kidding. I'm very impatient. I'm extremely impatient. And one other thing that really bugs me is when I see greatness in someone or I see opportunity, I just don't understand why people don't run toward opportunity the way I like to. I think that was a big lesson for me, especially in network marketing, because the beauty of network marketing is you set the pace for yourself and you earn your own paycheck. And it has been a lesson for me to understand that some people don't want to make $1 million a year because they can't even imagine it, and they won't let themselves imagine it. And I just do not understand that. I still don't understand it, but I'm getting better at being okay with it. It's just not enough for me to know that there is a pile of gold sitting in front of this person, and I'm handing them the shovel, and they would rather use a spoon. And I have to be okay with that. Drives me crazy, but I have to be okay with it.
All right, we're going to switch gears. We're going to move on to the play hard section of the show, which I define as anything outside of work. I'm kind of looking at myself here as the anti-Gary V. We spend a lot of time on work and not a lot of time on play. And at some point in, my life, I just sort of look at this and go, what am I doing all this for? Where's the other side of this? So for you, if you had a magic wand and you were to describe what play hard looks like for you, what would that look like?
Love this. Being with my kids, being with my husband, not necessarily traveling, but maybe traveling with them, enjoying every single moment, the four of us just doing the do, sitting around, sitting in the backyard with the fire pit, hanging out in the pool, having my kids' friends here. This is the magic for me. This is what lights me up, to have my house filled with kids, being at my son's basketball game, being at my daughter's recital. I know it's not sexy, but this is what I live for. Time with my kids, time with my husband. Nothing else beats that. You could offer me a trip around the world. I wouldn't take it unless they were coming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything sexier than that, to be honest with you. That's the whole point. The point is that the play hard is so individual to the person, and it's not, as much as I've been accused of, wanting to spray champagne around the world, and I have, that's my highlight reel. What's really in there is what you just described. So what would you say is the biggest block or challenge or struggle that you have in putting more play into your life? Because business is such a dominant thing for you. Where's the struggle for you to just shut it all off and just do play in the way that you defined?
Well, that's a great question, because I've struggled with that. I totally have struggled with that. It wasn't until I met with Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. She looked at my phone, threw it down, ran around her office with it and said, "Look at this girl. Look at all her emails." She said, "What is your schedule like?" And I told her, and she wrote up a completely different work schedule for me. And this was so intimidating for me. And she actually created the work schedule that I still have today. As a matter of fact, your wife knows my schedule. Kim will say, "I know Mondays are your day for blah, blah, blah." So I have had to block my play into my schedule, shut my phone down. It has been an absolute struggle for me. But when I don't do it, I feel terrible. So the beauty of it is, right when my kids get home, you cannot get a hold of me. because I have to sit there and make sure that I hear their whole day. And that lights me up. But it's hard though when, you have a business partner who can only talk to you at that time. So you have to set those boundaries. And I'm getting better at it, but it's still a struggle for me. I don't know anyone who's mastered it. There'll always be something coming up. But when you have to schedule in your playtime, and you talked about this, Rob, and I'm so glad you're doing this podcast, because I too feel that without that play hard attitude, the work is going to overwhelm and create burnout. So the play has got to be as good as the work, because what else are we working for? What else are we working toward? To not be able to have more time with the people we love. So it's a struggle, and it's why I listen to your podcast, because I need help too.
Me too. That's why I'm doing the podcast. If you had all the time and the money in the world to pursue any hobby or recreational activity, what would it be and why would you do it?
If I had all the time and the money in the world, what would I do?
Yeah, like a hobby or a recreational activity. Like, I'll give you some examples. I just interviewed Lori Harder, and she wants to play guitar. I just interviewed a guy in San Diego, and he's been looking at the beach, and he's like, I cannot believe that I don't surf. So is there anything that hits you as far as a hobby or a recreational activity that you'd like to do?
I would love to get back into hip hop dancing.
I love that.
I really would. I was so good at it a long time ago. It's one thing, and it's funny you brought up Lori. I remember Lori and I were talking when she was doing her ballroom dancing back when she started it. And I remember saying, I am so jealous of you. I have got to get back into dancing. And yeah, I would think if I had more time, that would be something for me personally that I would get back into, is dancing more, because I danced for so many years and I do not do it enough. The other thing would be I'd play more tennis. I grew up playing tennis competitively and haven't picked up a racket in years. So I feel like that would be another one as well.
How about learning? Is there anything that you've always wanted to learn, but you just haven't gotten around to it yet?
Well, I'd like to learn more tech. Like all of us, you know how I am. Just ask Kim. I'm not the most technical person in the world. So if I had more time, I would definitely get more tech experience, because I feel that every entrepreneur needs it. And sure, we delegate and we have great people around us. But at the end of the day, I would really love to learn more of it. I love the idea of it. That's something that I really need to learn.
Is there anything that your soul has really been calling you to do, but for whatever reason, you just haven't pulled the trigger on it? Like, I just really want to do this thing, and it keeps popping up year after year, but you just never do it.
Yeah, I think it was creating my own fitness experience. This has been a dream of mine for the last couple of years. This is the first year I'm going to do it. And it was pulling on me year after year after year. You've been there, Rob. You've been at those shows where you're just like, wow, this is what I work for. Like, this could be so good. This is 5 cents short of a 10-cent lunch. It could be so much better. And so that has been pulling on my soul for years. And I'm finally doing it. So that's kind of a big hit in my legacy, this event that we're going to plan. It's going to kind of seal the deal in my fitness legacy. And I think that's kind of where I'm going, is creating an experience for someone out of all my years of being in the fitness world. This is just the next step. So I'm really proud of myself for finally pulling the trigger, but I should have done it probably 5 years ago.
I'm going to make sure I'm at that show. I want to see it.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on in your life. What is the top thing that you do to clear out the brain chatter, to drown out the noise, to reset, reboot your hard drive?
Gratitude. Every night.
Do you have a practice? Like, is there anything that you do? Like, do you sit down, open a notebook? Do you close your eyes? Do you meditate?
I know. I have a notebook and I write down everything that is on my brain. You do it in the morning pages. I do it before I go to bed. Otherwise, I can't sleep. So I write down everything that's on my mind, and it's jibber jabber, but for some reason, it helps me get a better night's sleep. It helps me release the tensions. And I'm just getting better at not worrying about things that I used to worry about, things that used to drive me crazy. And your wife has been such an important part of that because she really grounds me. I really love talking to Kim because Kim's like a born strategist. She'll say, okay, let's how about this? So I love collaborating with her on so many projects. But I think keeping my kids first place and knowing that, Rob, I'm blessed because I have great kids. And so when everything is crazy, just making the time to just have those conversations with my 16-year-old son about history or his English class, or those are the things that ground me and make me realize this is why I do what I do, because I have the life that I have, and I'm not going to stress over the things that could happen, may happen, might happen. I'm trying to live in the moment more. You guys are really good at that. And that has been difficult for me because I think I'm wired to just be more of a type A. But, hey, maybe playing harder is something that I need to really focus on more than the normal person.
All right, so we're going to move into I put a tweet out, and I got some people who have some questions for you, and then we're going to move into the last part, which is the rapid fire round. So social media questions. I think the name is pronounced Gentry. Gentry wants to know, what are you most proud of in your life?
My children.
I think we can see the theme here. Heidi wants to know, how do you get yourself to do something when you're really, really scared?
Oh, I love that because that's what everything is. Life is scary. Put on my big girl pants, pretend I'm Wonder Woman, and I just go for it. I just don't think about the fear. There's no option.
Tony wants to know, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Is that Tony Robbins?
I don't know. Maybe.
I see myself doing the same thing with my children more involved with multiple layers in my business. So creating more things within the umbrella of Cathy Savage and having my kids more involved with it.
All right. Rapid fire round. Answer as quickly or as slowly as you would like. What would your friends say is one of your superpowers?
Belief.
What do people never ask you, but you wish they did?
God, people ask me everything. I wish they would ask me more about my sports knowledge because I'm really proud of that, but it seems like no one cares.
I can't help. What is one thing that you want to get better at?
I would say being more patient, for sure. I've got to get that down better.
What is the book that comes to mind that you've reread the most times?
The Gold Standard.
What is the one thing that you own that probably should throw out, but you never will?
Probably my teddy bear, Taffy. It's just, I've had him since I was like a year old, and he's nasty, but I can't throw him away.
Other than Facebook and Instagram, what is the one app on your phone you can't live without?
Probably Sweet Greens. They make my salads. I call it in. There's a huge line. I don't have to wait in line. I go in, pick it up. Best
advice for your 20-year-old self? No, I'm going to change it. Let's do 30-year-old self.
Belief is better than knowledge. And who cares what people say? Just do it. Go for it.
Last question. If you had to give a TED Talk on nothing that you're known for or nothing that you speak about, and it could be on anything that you like to do or anything that you have a passion for or anything else at all, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. Well, again, I would love to do sports, but people know that I'm into that. So that wouldn't be, people would expect that because I always seem to bring in sports to any time I do a speaking gig. Honestly, I thought about this, and you're going to probably shake your head, but I don't care. Remember the show Beverly Hills 90210?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do a talk on how every issue in this world could be solved by watching that series because you name it, family issues, friendships, peer pressure, relationships, fashion, politics, education, they covered it all. And I am dying to do a comparative with Beverly Hills 90210 and being an entrepreneur because that show covered it all. And you can roll your eyes, but if you are a fan of that show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That show did not get the credit it deserves. I love that show.
I didn't miss an episode. So I'm actually, you're taking me right back there. I had the Aussie spray scrunch in my hair, just like Dylan did. I mean, I could feel that purple bottle in my hand right now.
Oh my God.
Cathy, do you have any final words, suggestions, or an ask for people that are listening?
I believe that everyone has greatness within them. I believe that you should surround yourself with incredible people because we all hear that statement, but those who you surround yourself with, they're going to predict your destiny. And I can't say it enough that if you have doubters, if you have those who judge what you do, you've got to get away from them because there's just so much good out there. And I just want everyone to be successful. There's just room at the top for everyone.
You know, your dad is in heaven and he's very, very proud of you right now.
Oh, thank you. Same with your dad.
Yes. Thank you, Cathy, for everything that you've done for me, Kim, and my family personally. I cannot thank you enough. And thank you for an awesome interview.
Love you.
Love you too. All right. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.